Hello everyone, welcome back to Reserved Investments on YouTube. I was not going to do a topic on this particular subject, but we do have to talk about it. And I did want to expand further on this particular commentary. On Saturday, June 22nd, I was at the TooManyGames expo that occurred at the Greater Philadelphia Convention Center. And the reason why I'm always there, usually at least once a year, is because I only live 30 minutes from the actual Greater Philadelphia Area Expo Center. So it's a no-brainer where if I'm going to go to a vintage video game expo, normally I end up at TooManyGames. Usually I can find a slot throughout the 3 days that the convention is held to find time to just go and look at what's selling, what people are buying, what trends are developing. So I was not going to normally do a video on this topic because I think YouTube is full of recaps of conventions, whether they be antique related, collectible related, coin related, pop culture related, you name it, it's already been done on YouTube, okay? Therefore, though, a certain trend is opening up that I thought would be productive to talk about on this channel. I could not believe what people are currently paying for near mint in box or factory sealed vintage video games from the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and TurboGrafx-16 era. I know why this trend is occurring. A lot of people are buying, speculating on these games, because now that we have WATA Games in a deal with Heritage Auctions, there's a lot of people that think that a speculative bubble is going to open up on these items. And ironically, one thing about speculative bubbles, when you have a lot of people thinking there's going to be a speculative bubble, usually there is a speculative bubble, because most of these people who are thinking there's going to be a speculative bubble have financial resources, i.e. skin, already in the game. Okay? So that said, I just want to caution a lot of people on being very careful not to go into debt or leverage themselves to acquire some of these items. I will tell you, I am going to be selling off some of my items that I have duplicates of in this strong marketplace, okay? Some of the games that I have will be sent to WATA Games to get graded. Others I'm just going to sell off entirely, and this isn't an advertisement that I'm selling anything. I want you to know that. No, that's not the point of this video. I'm just saying, to be transparent with you, I'm happy if somebody wants to give me, you know, I got offered 650 bucks for a near mint boxed copy of Snow Brothers for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, before I state that, I should prelude this with the fact that this copy is 100% mint. I mean, it literally looks like somebody just took the top of the box off, plopped the card in the Nintendo, played it once, put it back together, and put it on a shelf somewhere not to be touched for 30 years. Okay? That's how mint this item is. I acquired it back in 2012. I paid $200 for it. So if somebody wants to give me $650 for something of that nature, I think that's a very high price point for that item. I already made the deal, by the way. And I told the buyer, I said, you know, I think that you're paying an extreme premium on this particular item. This person, though, is convinced that even if WATA Games doesn't revolutionize the market or cause a speculative bubble, he's still going to be able to grade it and flip it to a collector who may want one that's mint in box as opposed to factory sealed. Since WATA Games grades both, he may be able to sell it to one of those collectors at a premium. I caution him that $650 is extremely absurd to pay for a mint in box copy of Snow Brothers, especially if it's open. That said, the deal went through. Now, I just want to put it out there, a lot of you who have massive collections from the coveted Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, TurboGrafx era are probably wondering, well, gee, are prices going to go higher? Should I sell or should I hold these items? I would answer that this way. If you're not predominantly attached to the items, now might be time to just look at what price trends are doing. It might be time to just look at completed auctions on Heritage and see what some of these items are going for. Usually a speculative bubble takes about a year or two to gain steam. So I'm having this discussion with you guys in July, beginning of July in 2019. So really, we'll probably be having this discussion again 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. Most speculative bubbles last several years. Then they either pan out, meaning they flatline, or they continue to go up in value even more a little bit. And then sometimes also the speculative bubble pops, which is in the case of Pogs, Beanie Babies, certain Lego items, Atari and Television, ColecoVision, Vectrex. Those items, if those of you don't remember, I've been involved in the vintage video game marketplace since really the early 1990s. And I remember I was one of the first sellers on eBay, back when it was called Auction Web. I made a lot of money, which contributes to a lot of the money that I have now, flipping Atari, ColecoVision, and Television games and systems. That said, by 2005, that speculative bubble crashed and burned. So there was really a 10-year period where Atari and Television, ColecoVision, Vectrex, and related items were a lot more valuable than what they are today. In fact, in some cases, some of those items fell as much as 60 to 70% in value, and that doesn't even take into account the cost of inflation for holding them that long. And those of you that are educated in finance like me, you'll understand what I mean when I say the cost of inflation. I'll do a separate video on that if you guys need me to, but the point being is people were paying, like I remember selling a Chase the Chuck Wagon Atari 2600 video game cartridge with the original manual. I got $250 for that item back in 2002. Today, you'd be lucky to get $100 on eBay for that same item, okay? It's just, nobody is really pursuing Atari anymore, and there's nothing against the people that collect it and love it. I collect it and love it too. I'm just able to detach myself from the emotional attachment I have to the items and give a realistic assessment as to where the financial marketplace is for those items at present time. So I just wanted to do a quick video on this topic. Another trend I want to comment on, and I have this here specifically to comment on this trend, is be very careful speculating or paying a large premium for a lot of modern era video game systems and games just because they're either factory sealed in near mint condition or graded like this. I can tell you a funny story on this item. This item, for those that aren't aware, this is the Splatoon and Super Smash Bros. Wii U system that was put out in 2015 by Nintendo to try to sell more Wii U systems at the time. That said, a certain big box retailer was supposed to put this out on Black Friday, and they kind of forgot, and they told their wonderful patrons that they were out of the system. Well, come a week later, they found some in the back, and I was able to buy a factory seal case of these systems. There's 4 in a case, by the way. So, is it 2 or 4? Because I bought 4 of them. I think it's 4 in a case, if I remember correctly. I opened up the case, and I graded. I'm starting to grade them now. The first one I was very happy with. This is the first one I got graded. It came back a 90 from VGA. That said, there's a lot of people putting insane amounts of money into numerous copies of 3DS, Wii U, Wii games and systems that are factory sealed. Please be very careful in this segment of the market. I know people personally. I have friends, acquaintances, people in the business who tell me they're sitting on 100 sealed copies of Super Mario 3D World for the original Wii U. I have another friend who tells me he has, and I've seen them firsthand, 10 cases of the original limited edition of Super Mario All-Stars that came in the cardboard full box for the original Nintendo Wii system. Okay? There's a tremendous amount of this stuff out there, even if you don't realize it right now. None of this stuff is very rare. It's not hard to find. As a matter of fact, most of it is very common. I just want to warn you all, be careful speculating in this market, okay? I graded this because I had an emotional attachment to it. Would I sell it? Given the fact I have 3 more, I'll be very honest. Yes, I would have no problem selling this for a premium. That said, I don't consider this to be a good investment. Your money can be used in other areas, unless you happen to have a very strong attachment to this item and you go, I want to have it no matter what, then by all means, the pleasure alone is worth having it, okay? I recognize that. But if you're looking to invest in a lot of these items, I just want you to use caution and don't let your heart take control of a lot of decisions you make that have a financial impact on your life, okay? You know, one thing, as we get further into this channel, I'm going to share stories with people who are successful collectors and investors operating in the antiques and collectibles trade. And I'm going to share some stories with you of people I know who are my age and living in their parents' basement, and this is no lie, because they spent all their money on the wrong types of collectibles and antiques, and they considered it investing, okay? That's not where you want to be, all right? To be successful in the antiques and collectibles trade, you have to understand market dynamics. You also have to be able to pull emotion out of any purchase you make if you are truly investing, okay? You have to be able to look at the fundamentals of something without being convinced or swayed by the emotional attachment you have for the item, okay? So I just wanted to make this quick video, and I do want to give a shout out to Pat the NES Punk, who I did listen to his commentary on TooManyGames, and he gave an excellent analysis as to the market, as to what's transpiring in regards to WATA game grading, and people paying outrageous prices now for a lot of the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis items that are complete in box, factory sealed, in high grade, okay? And I give him all the credit in the world for that analysis. I don't always agree with everything Pat the NES Punk says, but in this regard, he was spot on. That said, guys, please feel free to subscribe, like, and comment on this video. I have a ton more videos coming up. I am going to do one, for those of you that are really into vintage video games, I am going to do a video on the speculative bubble that consumed Atari, Intellivision, ColecoVision, and related systems from 1995 to 2005. So that's going to be very interesting because I saved a lot of my old notes and sales figures from back then. So it'll be interesting to go through and look at what, like, Crazy Climber for the Atari 2600 sold for between that era versus what it sells for now. And also look at what I paid for it at a yard sale and what I sold it for on eBay. So you guys can get an idea over how much speculative mania was going on at the time. So keep it right here to Reserved Investments, and I'll be back soon. Thanks, and have a great day.